the little bird was dead. And my mother told me then, son, I want to teach you something about this right now. The things that we try to control the most and the things that we hold the tightest are the things that we smother and we kill. But the things that we hold with an open hand and allow to be free frees us and gives us life. Now continue to go with him and keep him under the protection of your love and your grace, your peace and your hope. In your name I pray. Amen.
I have a disease that's non-operative. I just found out about that last year. It doesn't bother me in the least except for family. Concerned about family and their well-being, you know, and trying to get everything out of the way so they have less they have to deal with and more time to get over the grieving and get back toward normal life.
My experiment with death was mostly the patient. We used to try to talk to the patient so they wouldn't fear death.
She didn't mince any words. She said, I'll show you on your x-ray. She says, you have cancer on your tonsil. And she says, you need surgery as soon as possible.
Once you sit down and, I mean, you realize that you have no other options, and you come to terms with that. It makes the journey a whole lot easier, I reckon. Right. You know, but you got to take it in little steps, or you got to take it just a little bit at a time and try to digest it and don't let it overwhelm you. You know, because that'll run you away. That'll run you away quicker than sitting there praying all night long.
Right.
Once you have faced it, it's something you live with almost every day then. It wasn't something that was commonly on my mind, and I don't know if it's particularly with cancer or not. I've talked to other survivors and I've said, you know, when do you get past the point that, you know, every ache or every pain, it's kind of like, it's cancer again, it's cancer again. And they've said, you know, it doesn't go away. It's just a fact of life. You live with that the rest of your life.
Well, I met a lot of patients and a lot of people's real sick. And when you go in there to give them medication, they would say, just give me something so I can die. And this one man that I met, every time I would go in there and take his medication, he was begging me to give him something to die. He wanted to die. So I told him, I said, if death walks in this room now, you'll get up and beat me out of here. And you know, he started laughing, stopped asking me for medicine so he could die. And he got better and went home. But every time I would go in there, he would beg me for medicine so he could die.
I mean, I almost had a peace within me because it was like, I mean, I didn't want to die, but if that was the direction I was headed, you know, I knew that's what the end of your life is. You were just passing through here. So it was like, you know, I was okay with that, but, you know, not ready for it. But if that was the final thing, okay. But to think that my family would, you know, possibly even have to go through my death was like more than I could handle.
And that's one piece comes to the family, you know, and the family gets closer, right. You know. Well, it's I might be leaving, but in that process, I'm bringing the family closer, and a lot of different things that happen in our lives we've been able to talk about and deal with, you know, ahead of time.
a manager at a water park, an indoor water park. I was the manager on duty. I was switching off with the other manager coming in. As I was leaving, just walking out the front doors, I heard 2 very long whistle blasts, and that's our way of activating a life-threatening emergency. And I look over to the pool that it was happening at, which happened to be right next to me, and I saw someone pulling out a little girl who wasn't moving. So I grabbed a pair of gloves, threw them on, grabbed our bags that we have, and so we did everything we could. We tried. 911 was obviously called. They came around. We did a shock, so she had a shockable rhythm in terms of a heartbeat. She had lost oxygen for too long to where she couldn't breathe on her own. So even though she had a heartbeat, she was pretty much dead the entire time. There's not a day that I don't think about it. It's something that will forever be with me. You know, I trained the lifeguard who was on the pool. He did something wrong, so does that mean I did something wrong? No, that was the hardest thing to get over, was trying to find a way of stepping back and saying there was nothing that could have been done, there was nothing that could have prevented it. I don't know, yeah, you think about it every day. Every day.
Oh, I spent a lot of time in the funeral home as a teenager, but it was mostly washing cars and vacuuming and cutting the hedge and cutting the lawn. So it truly was a family business, and we took on all aspects of the business. It's not something that I had aspired to do from childhood. It's something that I grew into. I went through my phase of not knowing what I wanted to be when I grew up, and ended up in the military, and then came back to this, and have been very happy to have done so. Certainly it affects us to be around the deceased. And it affects you most when it's somebody to whom you might have been close, when it's a very tragic death, such as an infant or a young parent. But it's something that we deal with because we know that ultimately what we're doing is serving the families of those individuals and trying to help them through a very difficult time in their lives. And that's what's gratifying, is when we're able to do that and people come back to us and thank us for how we helped them through such a traumatic event. I know I just don't want it to be a lingering process. I hope I'm one of those fellows that goes to sleep one night and just doesn't wake up. I don't want to be hooked up to machines, and I don't want to personally go through that, and I don't want my family to see that.
If I were picking how I could die, quick.
A quick death would be the best.
Well, I would like to just to die instant. I don't want to feel any pain. I just want to die instant. Like with a heart attack or something like that. I don't want to die of cancer or something like that. I'd rather die with the heart attack.
Preferably a nice quick heart attack.
I would choose a heart attack. I don't want to be sick for a long time and have to linger in the hospital.
I don't want to die in a hospital because I don't like hospitals. And I wouldn't want to die in bed. I would want to die doing something that I enjoy.
I would accidentally make this juice, and I would accidentally tip it into electrocute, and then it'll mix up with it, and then I'll come back and I'll say, here it is, and then I would drink it, and it's going to make me so smart.
The first way is when I'm really old and just in my sleep after living a happy, fulfilling life.
My brain will explode, and then pieces of it will fly around, and then earwax comes exploding out of my ears, and throw up comes blasting out of my